Isn't it 52, one for each state?
100. There's only 50. 50 states.
Oh, yeah.
Two for each state.
There's two.
I was thinking of a deck of cards. I'm not even going to lie about it.
So the Senate, it will be 100 members, isn't it? And what about the House of Representatives?
That's based on population.
Yes, and how many we have right now?
I don't know the exact number. I just remember it's based on population.
435.
How do you know all of that?
Because I have to become a citizen myself, and I have to learn that, and I was so interested in, and I love history, and I love to learn about these things, guys.
This was just like in my government class, like the last year that I just graduated from, and I couldn't remember any of it.
And you know, the problem that we have here is, the problem is, you know, when you don't know your rights, there is a problem, guys, isn't it?
That's true.
We need to know what's going on. And, you know, I think it's there is a great amount of people that we think, you know, we're fine. No,
I know the
if we
first.
don't do something big for our democracy, it's not going to work, isn't it? Hey, one more question. How many members has the Supreme Court?
8.
Almost there. 9, my friend.
Dang it.
So, just to mention, guys, the Constitution is so important in our lives, so we should know it, isn't it? We should read it. We should understand, because it's the only way that we can defend our rights, isn't it? So, the president has not all the powers. You know that. That's why we have 3 branches. So saying that, guys, yesterday was day 23, and we are still working on our project. But we talked yesterday a little bit about payrolls, isn't it? And one important part, guys, is control your cost if you have your business putting over there in the restaurant business, isn't it? And on one side, so what are the costs? What are the general costs? Who can tell me what are the costs that we have in a business, a restaurant business? The major costs.
Oh, you have ingredients?
That will be the food cost, isn't it?
Yeah, food,
That's one.
food costs, labor.
Labor cost and?
Then you have the
overhead,
overhead.
like your rent and stuff.
miscellaneous fees.
That's labor. What else? What will be miscellaneous stuff?
It'll be your fixed stuff, like the things that never change, like your rent, and your miscellaneous will be like if you need to
Operating cost, isn't it? Operating cost, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we have all these 3 things. And when we do the summatory of food costs, labor costs, operational costs, how much is left as a profit, guys, in this business?
About 10%.
If we are lucky, isn't it? If we control very nicely, 10%. So, but it can be between 6 and 10%. So this is a hard business, and that's why it's so important to keep SOPs in the middle, isn't it? What is an SOP, Lauren? What is an SOP?
Lauren Bailey?
Yes, Lauren Bailey.
I'm honestly not too sure. Standard operating procedure.
Yes, there you are. So you need to implement the standard operation procedures, isn't it? So what are those standard operation procedures, Joshua?
The systems you use to communicate from the front and the back of the house, just the systems you used in order to calculate all the inventory and the cost of everything and stuff like that.
Yes. So they are procedures, isn't it, that we put it on right. They are protocols that we put it on right so everybody knows exactly what to do and we can make them accountable, isn't it? That is very important what we do. So when we have people there in it, you train them, they are accountable for what they do. So yes, so and in the case of food, we have standardized recipe and we have inventories control, isn't it? And we have production control by prep sheets and training and all that. In the other hand, we have the labor cost, isn't it? Which is a huge part of our cost over there. And we know for sure that, in the food and beverage business, it represents a huge amount, almost as big as the food and beverage, isn't it? We can say that. And so how much people we have to hire, that's the big, question mark, because we don't know. It depends on the size of your business. If you have a small business, probably you don't need to hire too much people, and if you have a big business. But yes, what we rely is we can check how much we sell and we can be sure that we get a percentage of our sales should be our standard in how much people we can hire, isn't it? And that's how we can control how much people we are, and we can put that into our initial plan, that we need to put it over there. So, and there is a lot of things that we can do to control of that. We talked yesterday, isn't it? First, like you need to hire the right staff. So there you have two things that you put on the scale, isn't it? One is professionalism costs money, isn't it? Because if you want to hire somebody that comes from a school that has a degree and that is a graduate school, that's going to cost you more than somebody that has zero experience. It makes sense? But yes. What are the pros and what are the cons of this, Sean?
The pros is the guy that has all the experience will know more what to do right off the bat, whereas a guy that doesn't have any experience, you'll have to train, but he'll be trained to do exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, so that's exactly what it is. A person who already has trained, it needs, it has more experience, so we spend less on training, and we have less cost of what is this? What will be if of mistakes, isn't it? So the person will have less mistakes, and because of that, we don't have that cost that is going to grow. So people who has no experience is going to make a lot of mistakes, and that's going to cost money. So we have to put that on the scale, isn't it? So hiring the right staff is the first is knowledge, it's training and losses, isn't it? The second thing is we have to provide a good culture. So let's see, Cameron Contreras, what will be a great culture? Cameron, he's not here, Chief. Caden, please.
Oh. Which Cameron?
Cameron Contreras, but yeah, Cameron Enriquez, can you tell me? Cameron, can you explain why culture is so important to control our labor costs?
Why culture is important to control our labor costs?
Yes.
So I might be confusing culture with maybe like work ethic and like the environment of your restaurant.
Environment. We talk about environment.
Yeah, so you want to have an environment or kind of like in your restaurant where everyone kind of checks on each other and make sure that everyone's doing the right thing, that you have inventory can be checked by multiple people, and you just want to start everyone in a routine, so to speak, of just kind of like keeping everyone in check.
But what will be a good culture? Abraham Woodwall. Abraham Woodwall.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
What culture means when we have to control labor costs?
A healthy work environment
Health-
for everyone
yeah.
to work in.
Yes. What else?
A safe work environment, somewhere that people can rely on their managers and their teammates to get their jobs done without being stressed out about getting their stuff done as well as everyone else's.
So yes, how about healthy environment? How can we affect that in our labor cost?
Did you want me to answer that too, or do you want?
Yes,
to-
please, yes.
Okay. It makes it can make labor costs go up because people take longer to do their stuff, do their jobs. So say cleaning is your job, so dishes. So if you're not feeling safe, then it takes you longer to do your job. Therefore, your
one.
labor costs go up.
But what is the most important thing of a good culture? If we have to control our cost.
I don't know.
Rotation.
Oh,
Isn't it?
rotation. Oh, yes.
Rotation of people. So what people is happy, there's more stability, isn't it? So if people are happy working, they don't want to move from that work. They want to stay there working, isn't it? And if they want to stay, we don't have to spend money on training because we have a high rotation. So have a healthy environment, it will contribute highly on labor cost control. So when we create that, so it's very important to have ourselves, when we open a business, to provide that, and a culture of respect, a culture that provide opportunities, isn't it? A cultures that encourage personal growth, that people know that professionally they're going to grow. If they feel that the company is giving that and they have good salaries and all that, they will stay. Don't you think?
Of course.
That's natural. So, Christopher's, why cross training? It will be important on labor cost control.
So you have multiple people who can do multiple areas of the kitchen instead of training to be one specific job on one specific section of the kitchen.
Exactly. So we can have, multitasking of people over there, and that is going to cost less money. Yes, exactly what is over there. And one of the big problems that we have in the restaurant business is overstaffing. So at some point we have too much people working on the places, isn't it? And one of the hardest things to do is optimize scheduling. And I know that some of you have been working in the business. Why is it so hard to put the schedules in the restaurant business? Who can tell me? Why is so different this business from the regular office business? Richard Brown.
It's harder to make schedules in this business because you want everybody to get their time, but at the same time, everybody also has their problems. And in some sense, you could have so many good people you want to work at the same time to have a good night that you can't work them at the same time because other people need their hours. So in the restaurant business, it's always hard to give everybody their hours and always have, the best possible crew you can. So the hardest part is trying to figure out who works well with each other.
Exactly. So that's the first part, And the second part is a complex business that you don't have a schedule that determine exactly every week how it's going to happen, isn't it? Because it moves according with the business, isn't it? If there is a low day, you just don't need that person, And so the schedules are moving up and down, and that is, you cannot have, straight schedules that you put it. One schedule a year, and there you are, everybody's working, isn't it? And because you have to move, as example, you cannot give everybody, as example, if we rest, the people has to rest 2 days, and you can give them the weekend, isn't it? Weekend day. You cannot give in just one person weekend day. You have to give everybody a weekend day, isn't it? So you have to be sure that you move the schedule so everybody has the same right to one weekend has off day. It makes sense. So if you just have a 2 or 3 that has weekends, that will create a very bad environment, don't you think? And people say, why these guys only have weekends and we cannot have it? And because we have a lot of people who are working on, as example, on tips, their schedules also are moving very fast. So, and then what Richard says is very, very true. You have to be sure that you put together, a good team of people working over there. And, and there's always a person that they have something, and they can come. So put a schedule is really, really hard in this business. And one of the big problems that we have, we're going to talk about that today, is it's so hard to do schedules, to put schedules. And sometimes putting right schedules, it's really hard to do that. And normally it's the last time. And when they do at the last time schedules, you create a big, kind of negative environment because people need time to organize their lives, and maybe they have, child cares and things like that to put it on their lives. And if you give them just very little notice, the people are not going to be happy. So normally we try to do schedules for 2 weeks. That will be the protocol, isn't it, in advance? And but the best way to handle this is not do it by hand, like putting the schedules by hand and put it on the walls, And if somebody don't see it, then you have a problem. It's use automatic systems that you can have in the phones of everybody, all the changes, all the figures, and everybody has the schedules on their phones. So you have to invest a little extra and to put that, but that's a secure thing to use a little lower technology. So good control systems and clocks also is something that is very important because you are paying hours, isn't it? So, and you don't want to overpay overtime because overtime is very expensive. So, and it's easy to do that if you have to check your clocks, it's easy to put a little extra time in the clocks with just because that's the way it is. It's a human way, isn't it? If I can put a little extra minutes on my clock, I will do it. And it's not that people is not ethic, it's the way that it is. And so we have to put a little of controls, and that has to be specific procedures to be sure that only authorized overtime will be paid. It makes sense? So labor cost is the single large expensive that we have on the restaurant business after the food cost, isn't it? So there you are. And it can be between, 25 to 35%. It depends on the type of business that you have, isn't it? From your gross sales, from your total sales, isn't it? So from every dollar that you receive, that means you're gonna have between 25 to 35 cents you're gonna spend on labor hand. but you have to really control the cents, because if you put a little bit, if you save a little bit, $10, as I told you, if you save $10 a day, that will be more than $3,500 in a year. That's a trip to vacation, isn't it? So if you're the owner, you save $10 a day, that gives you a chance to go to your family, and have a vacation at the end of the year, just because you save $10 a day. So that's a lot of taking care. So when we see this business, we always say, with Chef Cliff, this is a business that we count pennies. We don't count dollars. We count pennies, because penny by penny is how we do our profits in this business. So if you cannot learn to control the pennies, then you're gonna lose a lot of dollars, my friend. Big dollars out of your pocket. So that's a big thing, and we cannot make more emphasis in this. So when you get and work in the kitchens, guys, you have to be sure that you learn how to work with professionalism. Let me give you an example. Like, this is a great example of how people don't have sense of how things costs, and this is true. And Chef Cliff is gonna follow me. You get into the kitchen as a student, and you say, we're gonna use today just the yolks. And you see the students cracking the whites and throwing the whites to the garbage. And and I'm like, if you got this behavior out and get into the restaurant, and they saw you cracking the eggs and throwing the whites because you don't need the yolks, man, you're gonna have executive chef or sous chef very mad of you, isn't it? Because we count every penny. We do always something with the whites, isn't it? We count so much that when we cut our vegetables, the little leftovers that we have, we use it to make stocks and things like that. So there is almost nothing that it's gonna be, throw it out. The bone, the spine, and everything of the fishes, we use it to make stocks and sauces. So we use every part. We're trying to use every part as much as we can. The efficiency on using that is what makes this business work. So I give you this, guys, this little guy of guidance, guys. When you get into the kitchen and your chef instructor says, we need to use the yolks, you have to ask, what are we gonna do with the whites? Don't throw it to the garbage, guys. Yes or not, Chef?
Oh, for sure. Do not throw it in the garbage. And that happens a lot.
Yes. And, that sense, sometimes the students that say, okay, I'm paying money, I can throw that to the garbage, no problem. No, because then you have that behavior when you get out in the business, and when this happens, you can even get fired. So you have to be careful with that kind of things, because you need to get with this mentality that we count every penny. Pay attention to that, guys. So restaurant labor seems to be, attached to what we call variable cost, isn't it? So that means variable cost means that more sales that we have, more people that you will need, isn't it? So the cost is going to increase with the sales when you have more volumes. Fixed cost will be like, you pay the same, no matter if you have more or less. So you can pay the same rent. You pay the rent the same time, and it's not attached to how much you sell, isn't it? So the rent will be a fixed cost. It makes sense? So, so there you are, Sometimes we can include, some fixed costs in labor hand. Who can tell me how can labor can be a fixed cost?
When you offer a salary?
Yes, people who have salaries, that's part of a fixed cost. You pay the salary no matter if you have less or more. You have to pay the salary, isn't it? So that will be also a fixed cost, yes. So that fixed cost and variable cost on labor hand, we have to put attention that we don't want to cross the line, isn't it? We need to have just the minimum amount of people who have salaries, isn't it? So when the business is low, we don't lose money. It makes sense. And on the other hand, we have enough people here that they come for hours. But you need to know two things. People who have salaries, we have more retention on those people. People who work for hourly, there's more rotation of those people. So be careful, isn't it? Because sometimes you cannot count 100% with the people who work hourly. They just call one day and says, I'm not going to come. That's it, isn't it? They don't have, you have the same as you can tell them, you know, you can come and you can go home. They can tell you the same thing to you. So you have to be very careful on that. So we can send people home, but at the same time, these people, when they can call and says, I cannot come today. What are you going to do? So calculating restaurant cost is very critical, guys. It's an effort that we do, guys, but we can calculate. There is some parameters that we can use to calculate, and I'm going to show you this. There's many formulas. I'm going to show you one, guys. So the biggest expenses we call prime cost, isn't it? Or combined cost, which is basically labor cost and food cost. So prime cost, guys, cannot be more than 60%. That's for sure. Combined. It makes sense? In your business,
Yeah, sure.
prime cost cannot be more than 60%. That means combined between labor and food cost. So labor cost should be around 15 to 17% of the weekly sales. That is your average. So one thing that is in the middle, and I know Chef Cliff is gonna say is the experienced restaurant manager and the experienced executive chef and the experienced floor manager that you need to have over there, because the experience will tell us how many people you will need it, isn't it? And how do we do that? We check our forecast, isn't it? What will be our forecast in our restaurant? What are the things that we consider in our forecasts when we have to determine how much are we going to sell next week, next month?
The amount of plates getting sold, what's getting sold.
Exactly, but how do we predict that?
Start your business, see what sells.
Someone said it in the chat line. Larry said it, a forecast. And
a forecast. We have to make forecasts, isn't it? So we have to determine a forecast. And the forecasts are determined for what are the points that we're going to put in the forecast. What has the forecast what element we have in the forecast to determine how many people we will have. The first one is very important. Yes, sir.
Oh, Larrick wrote, start first month and then week to week after that. But
So the first thing that we have is our business project, isn't it? Our business project, you will project how much we will need to send every month, isn't it? In order to make money. That will be the first one, isn't it? Did you agree on that? Because we need to have a business plan, and the business plan will tell us how much we have to sell every week, every month, isn't it? So
yes,
that is one element. The second element, it can be a historical element, isn't it? What will be that historical element if we have? Somebody has an idea?
Can you repeat the question?
The second part of the forecast would be the historical element. We have to find how much we sell last month the same time or last year on the same time. That will give us a good idea on what is the position that we have this year, isn't it? That will be a second thing. So historically, we can know how much we are selling, and that gives us a good idea. It makes sense?
so how much you made last month? You know, well,
yes.
In the,
So we have first our project, isn't it? Our business model. The second, historical model, isn't it? How are we going to do? And third, a reservation system, isn't it? A reservation system, it will tell us how much it's already pre-booked, and we can have an idea how it's going to happen, isn't it? And maybe we have a party, we have something, you know, we have a lot of people coming that day, and we know for sure that we're going to have overbooked that restaurant or something like that. That will affect, you know, highly the sales of that day. So we have those three elements that we can have. But also a fourth element is the experience of the operators. They will know exactly if they will overbook, what they have to do to be sure that they have, if they are very slow, maybe they have to start making some kind of marketing, isn't it? Make some specials, make some concessions to be sure that we can that days that we are low, we can bring people and get some sales. So how we can calculate this projected labor hand? How can we calculate, you know, the future? It makes sense.
yes,
So
it does.
this is kind of a little simple. I'm gonna put it step by step so you can see it, okay? So the first thing that we have to estimate is how many guests we expect. Let's see, guys. We said, you know, between 3 and 4 p.m., we usually have 40 guests. That's our speculation based in history, isn't it? That's an example. So 40 guests, then we have to start putting attention and say, you know, the second part is how many people we need to attend 40 guests, and says, okay, maybe we need one cook. It's going to spend 2 hours cooking for these 40 people. Maybe we want to expect, you know, one server for every 10 guests. If we have 40 guests, we need 4 servers. So we need 4-hour servers, and we need maybe 1 host for every 20 guests. So we need 2 host hours. So we have a total of 8 employees hours that needs to cover 40 guests. Two, 4, and 2. 8 employee hours. Make sense? You're gonna determine wages, isn't it? So the cook average is $15 an hour. For 2 hours, that will be $30, isn't it? The server has $5 an hour because they have also tips, isn't it? For 4 hours, that will cost us $20. And the host has $8 an hour. For 2 hours, that will be $16. So that 8 hours, we can have it in numbers, isn't it? So let's see, for this scenario, it will be $12. So that will be here. The project sales is 40 guests. Wait. So here, total cost is $16, guys. That will be the total cost, isn't it? Because so we have $30 and $20 and $16. We are good? Okay. So we have to calculate the average check per guest. So how much they spend our guests on average? And we can say, you know, in this place, the cost of average for this scenario will be $12, the check. That's the average check from their guests. So then we have to project it, isn't it? So we're gonna say, you know, we have 40 guests, it's $480. The project dollars spent for 40 guests, it will be $66. So divided the labor dollars by the sales, and you will have the percentage will be 1375. That will be 1666 divided by 480, that will be 1.38, which is the project labor percentage. So you can calculate, you know, how many people you needed, and you don't want to pass that kind of percentage. You can have an idea how much you can expend in areas that you really need to put in money. So that's a good example, guys. And it says, okay, I'm not going to go more than that. And for that, that's my that. And that's going to be influence when you make schedules, guys. So the people who make a schedule, they also have, it's not only to put people over there, but also they need to calculate that you cannot overcrowd the areas because it's going to exceed the amount of money that we have to put it on one schedule. So we need to be sure that this is a business, it's not just a circus that we just put the money over there without knowing what's going to happen. So create a schedule is kind of a puzzle, isn't it? it's kind of a puzzle. How are you going to put it one piece and another and make everybody happy? And be sure that you make money, and you want to be sure that you have enough people to handle the restaurant and without overstaffing, isn't it? Which is basically put the right people in the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
So this is this place called WorkJam study, guys. They found that over 50% of the restaurants relied on manual processing. So that means the schedules are made by somebody, hourly employee, you know, and there's a lot of inefficiencies, you know. And according for these studies, you know, reportedly, you know, the turnover rate go very high. So, and that because that is the claim that, you know, that there is a lot of inaccuracy, and that costs a lot of discomfort in people, and that's why they don't want to work anymore. So that's not good, guys. And those, you know, this is a loss for the restaurant, you know. So we have to be sure that when we create schedules, you know, we do it well. But it's a complex issue, guys, you know. So they make this parameter and says how easy is this, and it's very difficult. They says, you know, that 68% of the employees says that put the schedules is very hard to do it in this business, which is true, you know. So don't do it by hand, guys. Don't try to do it yourself by hand, because they create a lot of discomfort in person because they think that they are treated unfairly. So what you have to do is get into automatic systems that help us a lot to go with that. And you have to be sure that we can be fair and we can send that information at the time to the people, and everybody knows what to do. When we do that, guys, we have to agree with people that come in that when they agree and we put the schedule, guys, they have to follow up. So changes. If you have been in the restaurant, you know, there is very easy to, they want to do changes and says, you know, hey, chef, I cannot come today, but this person is going to replace me. Yes or no, chef? They says, hey, I cannot come there tomorrow, but I call Pedro, and Pedro is going to take my shift, chef. Do we allow to do that or not? So we have to be very careful with what we do in the restaurant business, how much we can extend the shifts, guys, and be sure that in some areas of this business, people has to be accountable with what they do, and they have to show their professionalism. So I will say, guys, excuses are not allowed on this business. Make sense? So if somebody come and says why you did not do this or you did not do that, and the guy says, let me explain you, chef, and they try to give you an explanation and you accept that explanation, what is going to happen is you accept that behavior on the person. And if the person knows that he can give you an excuse, then that's it, isn't it? Let's put it here in the school. You are our clients, but the people come and says, hey, chef, I couldn't do that. Okay. Then you know that you can anytime say chef this, chef that, you know, and you can put any excuse and it will be passed. In the real life, guys, you get to work, they will not accept any excuse. So what is going to happen, guys, is when you get and says why you didn't do that, and the guy is going to say, hey, chef, let me explain. No explanation. The only explanation is how are you going to do it? You didn't do it, when are you going to do it? So, no excuses in this business, guys. It's true or not, Chief?
Oh, yes, very true. No excuses. It's a put up or shut up situation.
Yes, and the same happened when we put the schedules. When we do the schedules, everybody has to follow the schedule, guys. So, and the people has to be accountable. If you start accepting, the changes, and everybody come and says, sorry, Chef, I changed my schedule with this person and that person, then in less than a year, you're going to have a nightmare, isn't it? Everybody changes themselves, the schedule. So the only thing that you can say is, the only changes that has to be, the okay of the manager. There you are. You really need to have a good thing in the middle to let you do that, like something is really sick, you are really sick, it's a problem that it's impossible to resolve. And then we help you, to do that because we are part of a team. So streamlined communication is very, very what we need in this business, guys. Systems that allow employees to communicate across the company. Simple, without putting papers that they have to read it. They have it on their phones. Easy to do it, isn't it, Chef? So if there is changes, automatically they communicate it. There's no excuses that says, I didn't read it, I didn't see it. It was there, I couldn't pass, I didn't come yesterday. Hey, there you are, you have it there in your phone. So no matter what, the information is there. So we try to eliminate manual processing as much as we can, guys. This is more than you eliminate the human error and so much time to take to do that. In automatic manual, there's a lot of companies that do that. They could include it in the POS systems, they couldn't, or you can buy it on the site. But it's a good invest to do that, guys, because it takes you a lot of your time and money. Technology will help you. Don't you think, Chef?
Oh yeah, technology will help for sure.
And now this kind of systems are less and less expensive every year, guys. And so don't try to get yourself into the nightmare to start making everything by hand. People put it on a paper here and there. It's okay if you have a business that there's four people working. That maybe is fine because it's not such a big of a deal. But if you have a problem, if you have a business that you have a lot of people, be careful, guys. So when we do schedules, guys, what we're trying to do is we're trying to do schedules. Etiquette will say, notify the people at least with 2 weeks of anticipation so they can organize their lives. It makes sense or not?
For sure it does.
So if they have daycares, if they have to do things, now fathers and mothers normally they work, isn't it? So they have to organize their lives and the children's life and all that. If you give them enough anticipation, they can organize themselves. So day offs, as I told you, there is a lot of requests for day offs. People come and say, I want day off here, there. The best policy, guys, is first come, first in. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we want to be democratic. If you already get your offs, then the next one, and especially when we have to accommodate days off and on days that are, weekends or 3 days or things like that you can spend with families. So we have to put very attention to that we are democratic and we don't just give those off days to just one group of people, then the rest will be getting kind of mad. So there you are. And then, you know, as soon as we post the schedule, you guys, that is kind of right in stone, isn't it, Chef?
Yes.
So the people have to honor it. And that's one of the things on the restaurant, you know, they have to honor it. So if there is a problem, you know, as soon as they post it, they call you immediately and says, you know, Chef, you forget this is, I already asked you for this and that, and something like that. Immediately they can check it, you know, but as soon as they are posted, you have to honor it. They have to be enforced. So changes in the menu, it's possible to do it? Yes, it's possible to do it, but likely not too much of a common practice. I know that there is a common practice in some restaurants that are running in the worst unprofessional way. That's, you know, they are losing money. But if you go to a real serious work, you know, it's there's not too much changes that you have to do, at least that somebody gets sick or something like that. Don't you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I very rarely wanted to change. I mean, I did not like to change my schedule once it was up. You know, just because, I mean, it took me a while to get it figured out, right? So, you know, I very rarely changed it. Once it was up, it was up. And
Yeah.
if there was any problems, they, you know, the individuals kind of worked with it to fix it, you know, or if they wanted a day off or whatever else, but, you know.
So don't get into chaos, guys, that people goes and says, okay, guys, okay, I have the schedule this, and they put in this schedule, but I cannot do it. Can you do that for me? And the other people said, yes, I can do it. And then you go say, this person is gonna take my sheep and this and this. If you're allowed to do that all the time, then it's gonna be chaos, because then the schedule doesn't work anymore. So you have to be careful. As soon as the schedule is done, it's done. So who make the schedule need to consider very elements, you know. First, it has to be democratic, isn't it? You have to be fair with everybody. Second, guys, you have to put attention of the human part, especially when somebody is telling you, I need this, I need that, with anticipation, isn't it? So you know with anticipation that maybe you have to give them off time or something to these people. So all these things, you know, and then you have to consider the money, and then you have to consider the skills also, you know. If you want, as example, guys, you don't want, you know, to have an unskilled person, you know, on the saute pan or in the grill that they don't know how to do it because they want to change the schedules, you know. That's not going to work, isn't it? So be careful with that. It's a complex element, guys, that we have to deal with that. You know, that's why if you are a chef, guys, you can then, when you finish and you're a success chef, you can run any business. Let me tell you, it's just like that. Let me show you something.
Do you want me to play it or?
1 minute, chef. Let me try. Okay. I hope this time it works.
Can't hear, Chef.
Can't hear it.
$1 billion coaching company with just one 45-minute presentation? Look, if you're an expert, author, speaker, coach, consultant, or if you solve a major life or business challenge in your work, then this is for you. If that's not
boss.com, and today we're going to talk about labor cost. The last few posts I've put up have been a little fluffy, less hard skill, more kind of theoretical and restaurant management and all that mumbo jumbo. And actually, if you get to know me a little bit, as much as I love that style and I think those are so important, I am very, very much a numbers guy. You can't operate a profitable restaurant unless you know where your dollars are going, unless you know where your pennies are going. You cannot operate a profitable restaurant. However, I also know that in order to move your needle, and to move it quick and fast, there are some other things that we need to talk about in your restaurant, which are really why the chains are kicking our butts out there sometimes. So today's different though. Today is going to be numbers.
Ruben, you can't hear anything? Could y'all hear anything?
I can hear it now.
You can hear it now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Today's going to be labor cost. If you're not already familiar with my thoughts on prime cost and how important prime cost is for your restaurant, please go ahead and have a look around my website. Somewhere on here, I have it featured. I have a 3-part series.
So you can't hear it now?
One of those components. So we're going to just quickly today talk about labor in your restaurant and a management theory that you can't expect what you don't inspect. You can't expect what it is that you don't inspect. So today we're going to talk about a very, very quick way to inspect your labor. If you're not currently using any kind of daily labor tracking system, program, spreadsheet, whatever it is, this is where I want you to start. It's extraordinarily simple. There is a lot missing from here, but if you're not even tracking labor on a daily basis, start with this. Build a very simple Excel spreadsheet. Monday through Sunday, total, front of the house, back of the house. You might have another category. Maybe you want bar here. Maybe you have bar and catering. You know your restaurant better than I do, but just for simplicity, front of the house, back of the house. Now, let's assume that on Monday, you ran $500 in front of the house labor and $500 in back of the house labor for $1,000. Okay? Now, depending on what your labor cost goals are, and you may not even have labor cost goals at this point, and that's fine. If you don't, go ahead and shoot me an email. Let's talk about that a little bit, or do a little bit more research. Again, look at my prime cost video because it's going to be really important. But here's the thing to keep in mind. Now you know you did $1,000 in labor today, and you'd probably put a sales category or something here. But let's assume you did $3,000 in sales that day. Quick math means you're running a 33% labor cost. That may be great. I don't know. That may be horrible for you. I don't know. I get so many questions. Is this a good labor cost? Is this a good labor cost? Is this a good food cost? Watch that training series. I'll talk about all that. I don't know. But that's the reality, and that's not actually including your taxes and your insurance and your benefits and all that, and we'll get to all that later. Again, I told you this is very simple. I just want you to start tracking it. We can get into more details later. The point is, though, let's assume 33% is high for you. If you wait till your month is over, if you wait till your week is over, but if you wait till your month is over, there's nothing you can do now. You're in reaction mode. You're not proactively running your business. You're reacting to it. So here's what you could do. Maybe that's a bit high for you. Well, you better call someone off tomorrow, unless you're scheduled to do more business tomorrow. But this way, if you're tracking labor on a daily basis, when you start coming into your busy Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then you can start making adjustments throughout the week to make sure that you hit whatever your goal is. I don't know what your goal is, but make sure that you are inspecting labor daily, and make sure that you're active, that you're calling people off, that you're calling people in, that you're running where you need to be. You can't do anything about it later, and it may not seem like a lot, but let me tell you,
I cannot hear you also.
50, 60, 100 bucks.
Can you hear me, Jeff?
A day in labor, 20 or 30 bucks a day in labor.
Yes, chef.
Let's take $10 a day in labor. If you could shave $10 a day in labor, that's $3,650 at the end of the year. That's a trip to Hawaii. That is a trip to Hawaii. Is it worth the 10 minutes a day?
Y'all can't hear it
so that
anymore?
way you can go to Hawaii next year?
Oh, okay.
Save
All right.
$20 a day on labor. That's a trip for you
Thank
and
you,
your
Jeff.
spouse to Hawaii. Save $50, you're taking the whole family to Hawaii, and all you had to do was save $50 a day. I can't tell you guys how important this is. Track your numbers on a daily basis. Know where you're at. Even if you don't know what to do with them yet, contact me. We can figure that out. But start tracking them. Simple, simple, simple. That's fine. I know there's stuff missing here. Sorry, I know this went a little long. Just wanted to stress to you how important it is. Again, this is Ryan Gronfin with The Restaurant Boss. If you're watching this video somewhere other than on my website, head on over to therestaurantboss.com. Give me your first name and a good email address so we can keep sending you out this awesome information as soon as it's available, as well as other offers and great training and things that I only do for my members. So as always, comment below, send me an email, like us on Facebook, follow me on Twitter or Instagram. Look forward to hearing from you soon. I want to hear about your restaurant. How can I help? What's going on in your world? This is Ryan Gronfin with The Restaurant Boss saying thanks and have a wonderful day.
YouTube ads.
You there,
Can
chef?
you play the second one, Chef?
Oh, yes, I can. Yeah, of course. Hold on one second.
Tomorrow. From now on, whenever someone on your in this short training video, I'm going to show you a way to raise the level of accountability in your restaurant, quite literally beginning tomorrow. From now on, whenever someone on your team fails to adequately complete or follow through on a commitment or responsibility, I want you to stop asking for excuses or reasons. If you're having an issue with a lack of accountability, this could be a big part of it. See if this rings true. You say to someone, "Did you get the walk-in cleaned or the schedule completed?" And they say, no, I didn't. Then you ask them why or why not. Then they give you an excuse or reason, which, by the way, you just asked for. Then once they give you their excuse or reason, you actually give them a paycheck. Think about what you've just done. You've just paid for their excuse and not for the task or job that was their responsibility to get done. And when you give them their paycheck, you've just set yourself up for more excuses down the road. Now, some people claim that there's a difference between an excuse and a reason. But I've heard it said that the only difference between an excuse and a reason is the spelling. Just think about it. Whether they give you an excuse or a reason, what they're actually saying is, I have a legitimate reason for not doing my job. Let me ask you this. What legitimate reason or excuse will that same employee accept for not having a full and on-time paycheck? You know the answer to that, none. So here's what you can do. Stop giving or accepting excuses for non-accountability. I'm sure you've noticed that people tend to treat us the way we allow them to treat us. And this is especially true when it comes to people that we manage. If you buy excuses or reasons for non-accountability, your people will keep giving them. When you stop asking for and accepting their excuses and reasons, they will stop giving them. So stop asking why or why not if they tell you that they didn't do their job. Instead, do the following. You ask your chef, did you update the recipe manual with the new specials? And he says no. You ask the following 3 questions. 1, what's your plan to get it done? And get an action plan, not an excuse. Then ask, when will you do that? Get a reasonable time or date for the action. And here's the last step. You pause, look them in the eyes and say, can I count on you for that? Here's an example. You ask, did you complete the maintenance checklist for the month? And they say, no, I didn't. You say, what's your next step to get it done? They say, can I tell you why I didn't get it done? You say, no. What is your plan to get it done? Don't move on until you get a specific plan or action step. Then you ask, when will you do that? Or when will you get that done? And get a specific time and date. Then pause and ask, can I count on you for that? So, from now on, when someone misses on a commitment or responsibility, do not ask them why it didn't get done. Instead, ask the 3 questions. 1, what's your plan or next step to get it done? And then get an action step, not an excuse. Number 2, when will you do that? Get a reasonable time and date for the action. And 3, can I count on you for that? Start doing this today and you'll quickly begin to get a lot fewer excuses and you'll see a lot more work getting done the right way and on time. Accountability is the glue that ties intention and commitment to results. And in a restaurant where you're counting on so many people to do so many things the right way, on time, accountability is absolutely crucial. If you want a higher level of accountability in your restaurant, we have a comprehensive course entitled Building a Culture of Accountability in the Learning System. Your entire management team can learn how to hold their team members accountable in a positive, effective, and consistent way. Please check it out by clicking on the link below.
That was great.
Were you
So,
able
guys-
to hear it, Chef?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So guys, I think that's it. Yeah, this is the end of our presentation for today. And so we have to start working, guys. Let me tell you, there is a lot of people who has missed. We still have costs from 13 people that hasn't given me the cost sheets. And they offered me to give me, today will be finished yesterday night. So I want to see this information that start coming this morning, please. Good. The ones who are not, guys, the ones who are already finished, have homework for you guys. Listen up. you're gonna open a spreadsheet. With 3 columns. One for ingredients, one for units, and one for weight or volume or whatever, or measure.
Repeat that one more time, Chef.
You're gonna open. Let me go do it. Let me start so you can see it, okay? There you are. Let me share with us. Can you see the spreadsheet?
Yes, Chef.
Okay, so you're gonna get this first column, A, and you're gonna extend it to B. And you're gonna put on the top ingredients. Mark it, center it. Second, amount. Market center. Unit of measure. Now, guys, you mark it, and you go down to 50, or go to 60. Maybe you're gonna need more. Let's see. You mark on blue 60, and you get here. You see the borders. It says borders, and you says, okay, you're gonna mark this. There you are. So you're gonna have the spreadsheet. We're gonna put it first. Proteins. Market. Center. And I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 maximum. I don't think you work more than 10 proteins. Then you have dairy.
Wait, what does that say?
Proteins. Proteins.
Proteins, got it.
Okay, you can go if you want to extend it. What you can do is get here, because you don't see it perfectly well, and I'm gonna go to Arial, because I know that Arial is clear, and I can put 12. There you are. You see better now?
Yes, Chef.
And I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here, I'm gonna put dairy. Market centered. And I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 here. Produce. Enter market. And then I'm going to put 20 lines on produce. So I'm going to go from 22 to 42. And I'm going to here dry items. Or dry ingredients will be better. You have that?
Don't forget to label the sheet.
Yes. It will be Pablo Guerrero. Or I can put just P Guerrero. Ingredient list. Let's go in the very top, guys.
Chef, can you share it with me?
Can you share with you?
Yeah, can you share
Yes,
it with
Chef.
me?
Yes, so this I'm going to share with Chef Cliff. And I send it. There you are. So you can share yours also with me and Chef Cliff. Same thing, isn't it?
Yep.
So guys, next step. I'm gonna get this example. Can you see this or not yet?
Yes, Chef, we can see it.
Okay. You see this? This is Abram, but we have the ingredients, isn't it here? Can you see?
Yes, Chef.
So you go to your recipes, guys, and this you're gonna see here. Pepperoni. Okay. You go to your list here. What's pepperoni? Protein, dairy produce, what it is?
Protein.
There you are. And how much is needed in the recipe standard here? Half a pound. There you are. So that will be 0.5 of a pound, isn't it? That we normally a pound. You can put it a mark, or you can put just like that. So I want, you can want this, I can put it this on center. It says all these has to go center. And this, I want all this.
Do the dry ingredients count as dry ingredient, or sorry, do spices count as dry ingredients or produce?
Yes, the spices, oil, sugar, all those things, we put it on the dry ingredients. Make sense?
Dry ingredients.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, this, we're gonna do it here, okay. So And you keep with the next and the next, and all your recipes you keep adding, isn't it? It makes sense? So you're gonna finish with a master list of your ingredients that you know exactly what are you, all the ingredients that you need to handle your menu in one sheet. It makes sense?
So you want us to calculate all the numbers together, like based on the ingredients that we need?
You need to do a master list of your ingredients based on your menu, isn't it? Did you understand?
Yeah, I think I got it.
Lauren?
So basically, you're gonna put everything that you are gonna be ordering. This is gonna be your order guide, basically your shopping list. So anything that is on this recipe right here, you need to you're gonna be putting it on there. You're gonna be ordering it, but you're gonna be tallying up the numbers, right? I mean, you're gonna have butter. There's butter in every single recipe, so you're gonna have to add up all the amount of butter, and then put the total amount of butter you need to buy for all the recipes or for that right in that list. Does that make sense?
I got you, Chef. That makes more sense. Thank you.
So let's see here, mozzarella is here. 1/3 of a pound will be 16 ounces divided by 3. 5.3. That will be 5.3 ounces. Let's see, you get another recipe that has mozzarella and it has 1 pound. So you get mozzarella 1 pound and 3 ounces will be what? 16 and 3 and 5 will be 21 ounces. So you go over here and put 21 ounces. It makes sense?
Does that make?
And you get another recipe.
Chef, I got a question.
Yes.
Okay, some of my recipes are sub recipes placed in other recipes. Like, so I have a recipe for my brisket, but my brisket's going to be used in about like 4 of my other recipes. So how would I do that?
You have brisket, isn't it? And it says how much
Yeah, like
brisket
I
you
have a
here.
recipe for making my brisket, and then the brisket that is made, after that brisket is made, it gets put into my other recipes.
Yeah. So the brisket,
do I
is,
just
an
order the
the
brisket?
brisket is an ingredient, isn't it, for you? So you just go to the recipe that
Yeah,
says
yeah.
So you get to the recipe that says brisket, and you put on here brisket, isn't it? And you're gonna add all the amount that you needed in every recipe, isn't it? It makes sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So every time that you have the recipe, you keep adding the amount over there. So you're gonna finish at the end knowing if you make all the recipes, how much brisket you needed. It makes sense? Can you follow me, Larry? Yes. Okay. Same with same with the onion, same with the sugar, same with the oil, isn't it?
Yeah, so you just keep adding up stuff on this, right? You just keep adding it until you get the total number of stuff that, so if you want to produce this menu, you've got a grocery list of items. Okay, I need 20 pounds of brisket to get all of this done, or whatever else.
Yes, so we want to know what is your basically your shopping list of your menu. It makes sense?
And then someone was asking, when is it due?
Next week.
Okay, and then what is the last category after? Someone was asking what the last category after dry ingredients.
Just dry ingredients.
There is nothing.
So we have 4
Do
categories.
you guys just
Protein, dairy, produce, and dry ingredients. Yes. Yes, Maya.
Yes, Maya.
so do you want us to build it like the one that you sent us, or do we need to add more lines? Or is it just all the way straight down? We just put everything straight down.
It's just one straight line. The one that I give you is a master list with prices, isn't it? So what you want here is the amount that you need in total. It's like a shopping list. Like if you have to do your menu for a group of people, you have to make a shopping list. So you have to get all your recipe, the ingredients you need, and you put it over there, and you added all the ingredients to need exactly how many butter, how many onions, everything you needed for that. That's exactly what we're doing here. It makes sense?
Yes, chef. So do we take the unit measure from the products and divide it by how many portions you need?
No, because you have to do for the whole recipe. You're not doing for one person.
Okay. Okay.
You're just adding up that whole recipe.
The whole recipe.
Okay. Thank you.
So guys, this is your last exercise of this course. So when you finish with that, you finish with all the exercise. The only thing that needs to be done is the conversion quizzes of week 6. That's the last thing that you need to do it. And with that, you have completed all the homeworks and all the information that you have done. Make sense?
Y'all are almost done. You're almost done, and you're almost into a cooking class.
So
most of you.
The last thing is you make your menu, and now we need to know your shopping list of that menu. And we want to do that because we want you to keep a little exercising with your spreadsheets. It makes sense? Because the more that you get in the spreadsheets, better that you're gonna be on that. I know that Joe is like, oh my God.
John.
I have to get into technology.
Jonathan?
Yes, Chef. On the portal, there's a Dropbox for the project. Do we need to put anything in there?
No necessary, because you are already sharing everything with us. It's not needed.
Thank you, Chef.
The only thing it would do is, I think at the end of your course, like it'll save it for you virtually, but you can either email it or share it with us, whatever.
So we don't have to worry about the Dropbox in there?
No.
Okay, thank you, Chef.
Hey, and could someone look and see if that discussion opened up?
Are you talking about the menu discussion?
Hold on. Let me pull up that. I think it was the menu discussion. Sean was saying
it works
that.
now, Chef.
Is it?
Yeah, it's working.
Beautiful. Nice. Thank you.
I just want you you guys to know, the chefs to know, that I really suck at math. So when you go to my dashboard and look at the sheets, I'm sorry. I will try again though.
Which sheets you want me to follow you from you, man?
I'm talking about like the dashboard homework. Like I really suck at math. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, the math conversions. Well, I think it'll yeah.
So Maya, let me tell you this. Better that you start getting into the business, since you are an entrepreneur. I know that you have that mentality, and you are thinking about become yourself an entrepreneur. You're gonna get more and more into math, and you're gonna enjoy it because it's such a great tool to resolve many of our problems, isn't it?
Yes,
not only
chef.
that, but Maya, eventually you're not going to have to convert anymore. You're just going to know the conversion of a tablespoon to whatever. I mean, Chef Pablo knows conversions in his head. Like, without even like
Yeah.
very
Yep.
much thought. He just
It's
knows the
yeah,
conversion.
comes automatically. It's like when you pray, isn't it? You know exactly what you pray. If you go to church, you learn all the things, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's the same thing.
The thing I'm most anxious about is I know I'm moving to Australia and I know that they have different measurements. So it's like,
Yeah, they have
daunting.
they have in Australia the what we call the metric system, which is more simple than the one that we have. So you're gonna be more happy because it's just
oh, thank goodness that it's easier.
more easy. It's not to think, the quartz you have. So they have 1 meter has 100 centimeters, and everything is like that. A milliliter is it's 1,000. You calculate like that. Everything is easy to one. We cut the thermometer is 1 to 100 degrees. Period is not like here, 32 degrees is, so when you get 100 degrees is boiling water, 0 degrees is freezing. So it's so easy, isn't it?
Yep. So anybody that is done with their menu.
So Kayton, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, the only thing that, can you please share with us your recipe costs? I don't have it.
I can do it again then.
Okay, I have it here.
Okay.
So, Kayton, the only thing in the recipes, let me share with you. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Go down here, guys. Click with the left hand, rename, and put the name of the recipe down there, okay? Every recipe down here. Are you good?
Yeah.
Just finish doing that, and you're good to go. And and then we can discuss the menu with you, okay?
Okay.
Good job with the menu. I saw it's beautiful.
Chef, I'm going to step away for a second. I'm going to check on they're installing my air conditioner, so I'm going to check on that.
Hey Chef, I was gonna ask a question. On the last 5 of the that I sent you yesterday, how y'all sent, and there was like 9 recipes that were already set. So I did those, but I had to make copies of the duplicates of the other ones. But it wasn't giving me the values, on the top for the menu cost and the other stuff. I think it was just the last 4 or 5 that did that to me. But I just didn't know how to fix that or whatever. But I sent them anyway.
Okay. Yeah, we have a problem over there. We already report that. We need a recipe that has more lines of items over there, because these 8 lines is not enough for the recipe. They need at least to have 16. So when you need to add lines, the systems that don't want to do the mathematics for the adding the additional lines, and I cannot do it because they put it a restriction.
Okay.
So we cannot add any formula over there. They don't let us do that.
Oh, that's why. Because you can add the on the rows, you can do that, but
yeah,
it'll show like it's gonna add, and it'll add everything on the total cost, but it doesn't put everything on the top where the menu price and all that stuff.
Exactly. So they already put the complaint that they're supposed to fix it and extend the recipe to 18 lines. That I think is enough, but until right now it's not fixed. So I just want to know that.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to let you know.
Yeah, I know. It's not only you. Many people have the same.
Okay, thank you, Chef.
Chef, what time do you want us to come back?
Maya, 1:30, please.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Chef, I have a question. Chef, are you there?
Yes, Preston.
Okay, so after we're done with the costing sheets, we're making an actual like physical menu, correct?
Yes.
Like with one of the 2 sites you sent us.
Yes.
Okay, and what are those sites again?
Here, you can get it here into the chat. You see it? Musthavemenus.com, Canva.com, or AdobeSpark.com.
Okay, thank you.
I am almost done with my costing sheets and I've already started my menu. But on one of my costing sheets, I had to add extra rows and it's not doing the
I know.
it's not calculating the extra
We're just talking
ingredients
just right now about that. So right now I just received a message from the guys who are trying to fix the problem. And he says that he already went there and doubled the recipe ingredients. So let me check right now.
Because whenever you add extra rows, it doesn't do.
Let me go and check again the costing sheets. Make a copy. Yeah. So if you go right now and open the costing sheet, it has 18 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 spaces. Get the new one today, Chef. They give us a recipe right now, and what he does, Sam, is they extended to 16 lines to 6 rows to make that. I think it's enough for the recipes.
Oh yeah.
And so they can work. So there you are, Ruben and Evelyn. You can get the recipe and they can do it, no problem. Did you get it?
I didn't get an email.
Yeah, there is with copy with you.
All right, I'll have to look. Ruben?
Okay, they fix. So they give him the authorization, and what he had is he had 16 in total, 16 ingredients for the recipe on the format.
I'm still looking for.
So yeah, they can. I don't think have a recipe for more than 16 ingredients is very rare.
I got Ruben's design. Oh, costing.
The costing sheet, Jeff.
No, oh, hold on. I'm still looking.
So listen up, guys. Can you hear me?
Oh, here we go. I'm pulling it up.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, Chef.
So they just put it a few minutes ago, a new standardized recipe on the portal, guys. Where you get the recipes. On your portal, you see where you get the recipes, and you can make a copy with a new format that has 16 columns to put 16 ingredients. So I think it's enough view for make the recipes the ones that are more than 8 ingredients that the first one has. Did you get it, guys?
And you said that's on the dashboard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same place where you got it before, but they just fixed it.
We fixed the problem, Jeff.
Hey, so do I get those costing sheets and then use those for the ones I already made?
The ones that you have more than eight ingredients, you can get the new format and use
Yeah,
it.
if you.
If you have more than 8 ingredients in your recipe. Somebody is trying to connect with us, but cannot hear it, guys.
Chefs, were y'all able to get into my menu?
Let me check. No, I don't receive it yet.
I should have sent it yesterday evening.
Oh, okay. Let me get. There you are. Yeah, so I checked that. I love that. Let me tell you, I love your menu because the way that you put it, like salads, if you get a lot of money with salad, put it on that way. I think it's a great idea. And work with the straight numbers also is a good idea. So it looks good. The explanation looks good. And, for me, it looks just beautiful. It's well done. So congratulations, you're done. I don't have nothing to tell you more than it's just great. I think personally, I think the text of the explanation are a little longer. You can make a little shorter, will be better. So the rest looks good.
Thank you, Chef.
It's a little too longer to read. If you shorten a little bit, will be better.
I'll get to fixing that a bit.
Yeah, another thing that will be good is that when you have the Heirloom tomato, candy pecan bacon, I could say put a little more, mark those elements, so then they really get more out to your rice, doesn't it? Make sense?
Yeah,
like the watermelon salad, the cheeseburger, all that. It should be come out instead of just lost in the middle of the text.
Yes, Chef.
And try to short a little bit the text that are a little too long. The rest is nice.
Yes, Chef.
When you finish, let us know.
Will do, Chef.
So, Shane, are you there? Okay, Joe, can you hear me? Okay, good. Let me go with you.
Okay.
So can you hear me? Yeah. So what I do, don't mark the prices there, because people start watching the prices instead and go from the prices down. The price should be hidden here and at the end of here, and don't put the mark. Don't put the prices marked with dark color, just straight there. That's the one thing.
That didn't get moving it. It just asked the price and it put it in there.
Yeah, but you're the person who has designed it, so don't. You have to design it properly. And here there's a little too much text, so put attention to that. Like here, you see here it says you see here it says New York steak, and the price is there. That's the right place to put the price. Like here, and here is the wrong price. It should be at the end, you know. But I think this is too much text here. You have to reduce the text.
I agree.
I agree. I already cut it down, but I agree it's too much for 109 seconds.
Exactly. So put attention to that. The rest looks beautiful. It looks good.
The price and too much text.
Yes. So be consistency. Like here, you have the price on this side that is good. Here is in the wrong place. Here is in the wrong place.
I don't know why it came up different. It just asked you for the price. It didn't give you a place
You
to
have
put
to
it.
try a
I'll
little bit,
recheck
because
that.
what you do here is correct. So try to do the same over there.
Sure.
Thank you. Keaton. Keaton.